Yo, everybody, what's up? Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys for stopping by tonight to talk a little bit about Scream. Ooh, we're going to get into it tonight. I got a very special guest to talk a little bit about the upcoming Scream film and a lot of the controversies and a lot of just crazy stuff going on with it. I'm excited to get into it tonight with everybody as well. And as you can see, we have strangers just walking around in the background of KillJoy Jake Studios tonight. So who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be an interesting night, and I'm here for it. So Jacob Wells is with us saying, long time no see, pal. How's it going, Jacob? Saying, I know I might have asked this before, but just to make sure of it, do you think Paramount will release all 9 Scream movies? All 9 Scream movies? What? On DVD as a box set? Kind of like The Conjuring does. Well, if we're lucky enough to get 9 of them, yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome if we get 9. We have 2 that are maybe in the works, right? That's kind of the rumor right now, that Scream 8 is theoretically in the works. There's a Kirby spin-off movie, perchance, which is crazy. So there's a lot to talk about in the world of Scream. Do we actually get all 9 of the movies? Well, that's definitely a future Jake's problem, is how I look at it. Jordan James is saying Scream 7 should do a podcast and a movie, have 2 female Ghostface killers. That's an interesting. I like the idea of 2 female ghost faces. It's always ever been one at a time. To do 2 of them like that could be a lot of fun, Jordan. I'm here for it. Who else is with us here? We got Chris saying, I don't want McKenna Grace to be Ghostface, damn it, because she is too pretty to be the killer. What? Emma Roberts was gorgeous, dude, and she was definitely the killer in that movie. Loved it. King Matthew III is saying, I have a way to bring David Arquette back. My liege, I forgot to say that. What's up, King Matthew? Something about Dewey being alive, Dewey's voice to mock Gale before killing Gale, because in my opinion, Gale's death is overdue. Well, Gale may die in this new movie. No one should be safe in a slasher film, is what I think. So if she goes, she goes. It could happen. A few more people I want to say hi to, and we're going to bring out our guest who's waiting so patiently backstage. Thank you, Jose. Paula Fitzhenry is hanging out with us. Thank you for being a member. Hi. Hello. You'll be home soon. Make it home safe, Paula. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate you. Villain Killin' Dylan. VKD is in the house. Yeah, boy. What's up, fella? What's up? Mr. Sir Ghostface edits. Hello, sir. How are you? Maybe Stu kills Gale in Scream 7. I mean, that would fit, wouldn't it? He wants revenge. Stop filming me in my damn house, Gale. God dang it. John Kramer is with us tonight, who maybe has a movie coming out this year. Big maybe there. Hello, Jake. Finally watched Wolfman on the big screen. I didn't want to say that, but I think it's mid. I kind of thought it was mid, too. Not crazy about that one too much at all. Few more folks I want to say hello to, and then we're going to get into the conversation. Damn it, I'm so excited. Ella is saying, shouties. I feel old just saying that, I'm like, wow, I really feel 26 in this moment. I'm not cool anymore, and it hurts. Girlfriend's just making fun of me back there. Brutal. Jake, is someone behind you? Yes. Oh my God, I'm terrified. I'm horrified by this strange woman that's walking around my set right now. Dean Renner, also a member. What's up? How's it going, dog? Appreciate you. And Destination Station. What's up, Destin? Good evening, good people. Yes! Lots of good people in the house tonight. Speaking of which, we got Jose Prendes hanging out with us backstage. We just did an interview with him talking about his brand new movie, Heretics, that just came out from the Asylum. Check it out on VOD and all other places that you can stream stuff. Let's bring him on right now. A name that you might know him a bit better by here on YouTube, Master Chaos. What's up, fella?
Oh, hello. It's a pleasure to be here. How are you, Mr. KillJoy Jake? Thank you for having me back. New Scream movie. I think it's time for us to have a reunion and hash this out, figure this out, because I'm a massive Scream fan and honored to be here.
Well, awesome, man. That's great to hear. I'm really excited to get into it tonight because, like you said, we typically have a stream before every Scream movie from 5 moving forward, where we get to talk a little bit about it. And Jose, I like talking with you especially because I feel like we have 2 different set of opinions. You've kind of been a Scream fan since the first one came out. I kind of hopped on board around the Scream 4 times, but I think the one thing we can definitely agree on is Scream 4 is the best sequel.
100%. 100%. Yeah. A phenomenal movie. Yeah, for sure. That's why I'm super excited for 7, because I feel like we're going to get something at least of the caliber of 4. I mean, maybe as good as 1, but at least at the caliber of 4.
I hope so, man. That's what I'm really hoping for from this one, especially with Kevin Williamson sitting in the director's seat. And real quick, I want to ask you about that, but I want to thank Tanya in the D for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you, Tanya. Appreciate that. At the Ghostface tier as well. Very, very apropos. But Master Chaos, let me ask you about this, because we've had a lot of Scream 7 updates just across the last like 6 months or so. What do you think about Kevin Williamson tackling the director's job?
I love it, and I think that he should have taken over right at 5. For me, it's after Wes passed. Obviously, a lot of us thought, well, the franchise is over. Let's just put Ghostface to bed. We feel that 4 really put a bookend on the franchise in a nice way. It was, even though the third one was technically She's Safe, but the fourth one kind of brought it back around, and it was a remakey kind of feel. And we thought that was it. But then when they said, let's bring it back and we're going to do a thing and we're not going to call it 5, and I'm still of two minds on the movie. I don't absolutely hate 5, and I'm calling it 5. But I feel it was the wrong direction to take, to be honest. I feel it should have been given to Kevin. Kevin, what do you want? What do you want to do? Where do you want to take this? Now that Wes is gone, this is your franchise, man. You made this. This Ghostface is yours. You take it on. So the fact that he's got it, 100% excited. And if you are a Scream fan, then you should have no worries, because this is the guy who invented the goddamn franchise. So I'm very happy.
I'll say that's not necessarily what has me worried. There are some other things, but we'll definitely get to that. I love Kevin Williamson, man. I'm excited to see what he does with the franchise, especially sitting in the director's chair. You know, I mean, he's known as a writer. He's only directed one other film before. Now he's tackling this, a different type of creative job. Now, that's something I want to throw at you, Jose, like as a director yourself. Like, what do you think the biggest difference is between being a director versus a writer?
Well, the difference is you have more responsibility, number one. As a writer, you write this thing and then you hand it off and then someone has to bring it to life. But as a writer, you've seen the movie in your head. You've seen it, a dozen times, 100 times. You dream it. You wake up thinking of scenes. You think of the characters and stuff that they'll say. That's why, I think we praise our writer-directors. Quentin Tarantino, these are the people that go from page to screen, and it's a perfect vision. So I think giving this to Kevin, whether he just only made one movie or not, he knows the world. So whatever the movie eventually will become, I don't think anyone else could interpret it as well as the guy who dreamt it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I hear you 100%. And that's one of the biggest reasons I'm excited to see him tackle it. It is from a script from Guy Busick again, though. So
I thought he wrote it.
No,
didn't Kevin polish it?
That's kind of, I don't want to call it a controversy because there are bigger things that are a controversy with this particular project. But some people are scratching their heads a little bit, wondering why he didn't write and direct it. Because he's just tackling the director's role for this one, which I do think is a little odd.
I will say 100% he tweaked the script. Maybe it's not official. Like, you're talking about, union, so WGA and all that stuff. Maybe there's a reason he couldn't officially write it. But come on, man. The guy's a writer. There's no way he's not going to tweak the script or tweak the dialogue and just say, hey, I'm going to do a pass on it. But I'll give you the credit. 100% he had his hands on the script. I would not be surprised.
I agree. I don't think he would. If he's going to, basically put his name at the front and center of this thing, calling himself the director, he's not going to just be like, whatever, I'll take whatever script. You know what I mean? This is his baby. Yeah. This is a continuation to one of his biggest projects ever. I can't see him just tossing, being like, so super careless, having a whatever attitude to it. I just don't see it.
As a writer, you have no power. The producers give you notes. The directors give you notes. Actors give you notes. So the writer is beholden to all these people. 100% that there's going to be changes that he wants put in there. And it'll be Guy Busick's script, but, 100% there's input from people like Kevin.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. And Lightning Ghost throwing $2 out there. Dude, thank you for the support, man. Really do appreciate you a bunch. Saying the Presence was so messed up. Jose, I want to ask you, did you get a chance to see this one?
Not yet, not yet. I was actually gonna watch it tonight, but I decided to go see Den of Thieves 2. So presents maybe later in the weekend I'll check it out. I've heard mixed things though. I know you liked it though, right?
I really liked it. I had a really good time with it.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm intrigued.
I think if you, and the one thing I'll say, not to diverge from the topic too much here, Presence was, I thought it was excellent because it was turning the whole haunted house subgenre kind of on its head, kind of doing something else with it. And it's not very, like, you hear that and you might expect, oh, they're going to do like jump scares from the perspective of the ghost or something along those lines. No, they don't do that at all, which is kind of shocking, kind of surprising. It's much more of this like grounded family drama, but you're just seeing it from the perspective of a ghost in the house. So it's a really cool little experimental film. I enjoyed it a bunch. If you want a good movie to see this weekend, definitely see this one in the theaters if it's by you. So, for sure.
Right.
Lighting Ghost, thank you for the 2. Really do appreciate the support of the channel, man. Let's get back to Scream. So, Master Chaos, you're hyped about Kevin Williamson directing this bad boy. How do you feel about the cast?
Well, let's see. I know McKenna Grace. Obviously, Nev is back, and to me, that's all I need in a Scream movie. Nev Campbell's back. I'm happy. To me, look, she's the franchise. Now, I know obviously the controversy with Melissa Barrera was, it's a horrible position that she was put in. That the studio made a kind of a dumb decision. But you can't let that affect the franchise. Like, this franchise existed before she even was a part of it. This is 100% Nev Campbell's franchise. So, people saying, oh, I don't care anymore because it doesn't have the Carpenter sisters, then you were never a Scream fan. You know what I mean? Because Scream isn't the Carpenter sisters. They came in late in the game. That's like saying, oh man, Freddy Krueger's not the same without Jesse from part 2. What the hell? You know what I mean? He's yeah. It's just an installment character. And it was a diversion from the story. The story was always Sidney Prescott. So her being in it, 100% excited. And if it was just her with a new cast, I still would be happy because it still has Sidney Prescott. I'm glad that Gail's back. The weird thing was, I thought at one point that Kevin would say, I'm going to consider 5 and 6 satellite alternate reality movies, and that he would go and actually make Scream 5 and bring Dewey back. Now it doesn't look like that's the case, which, fine. But then that means that we are, and this is genius, but also there's flaws. The franchise is going to have really thick continuity. Now it's existing in it's the only franchise really, Chucky kinda, that has this really, expansive continuity where every movie feeds off of each other. They're not standalones for the most part, which is incredible. I was very shocked that are both Meeks twins coming back or just
yes.
Chad? Both.
Yeah, both of them.
Well, what do you think about that? Because I think that just blew my mind. I didn't think anybody from those two would come back.
I mean, I have to admit, it does have me a little excited to have some kind of remnants of 5 and 6. I'm with you in the sense that I don't think, these characters are the franchise. I think that's crazy to say, like, oh, they're going back to Sydney. I'm completely turned off by that. No, I hear it. I see the idea of wanting to do more story with Sydney, especially exploring the idea of her being a mother. Like, that reinvents the whole character. You know what I mean? I'm very excited to see a storyline from that focal point, as long as they have a good ghost face. That's a big thing for me. But to see Chad, getting way too off topic there, but to see Chad and Mindy back, it's exciting to see how they're going to be factored into the story, but I am worried that they're just going to be like opening kill fodder or something along those lines. Like, we're just going to do like a super brutal opening scene, killing both of them off, essentially saying like, hey, we're moving past what 5 and 6 tried to do. We're going back to basics now. And to do that with a really brutal opening scene, killing a character who was unkillable in the previous 2 installments. I mean, that says a lot about the new Ghostface, right? So I don't hate that, even though I like 5 and 6. I don't hate that because it establishes this new movie as something powerful, something different, and hopefully a good direction for the franchise. But I have my doubts on that, I should say. But what do you think about them? What do you think they're going to be utilized for in this new flick?
I don't expect them to die, and I'll tell you why. Because Melissa is not coming back. At least not in this one. At least not in this one. I think if her friends died, she would be a part of the story, right? I mean, that's what happened
Right.
in 5 with Nev. So I don't think they're dead. I think Mindy's gonna be the Randy, and I think Chad is gonna be just I don't know how the hell they're gonna factor him in. I have no idea. He really only has a connection to Gail, so I have no clue. That's the head scratching element. Those are the two that are coming back. The core four is now divided. And I wonder what those conversations are like behind the scenes. Like, what the fuck? You took the movie? What the hell? We were supposed to be in solidarity. I'm sure they're still friends, and I'm sure it was like, dude, take the job. Don't worry about it. We're still good. But I don't think I'd be very surprised if they die. It'll be towards the end of the movie, and then maybe Melissa Barrera comes back for 8. I can't see her staying away from this franchise. I think there's going to be a mea culpa on Spyglass's part, and there's going to be a patch up. Obviously, they know they made a mistake by pulling her. I honestly think 7 is going to win a lot of people back. But you're right. It's all down to you got to have a great Ghostface. One of the reasons 4 is so good is because the Ghostface reveal is so awesome that it's like, holy shit. I mean, that is great. That's the second best Ghostface reveal, making it the best sequel. If you have a great Ghostface and you have a way to tie in all these legacy characters with some new characters, people are going to be won over. I mean, the formula works. I think people just have to give it the benefit of the doubt.
I think for me, my biggest thing moving into 7 is we need a good Ghostface. We need a good motive. We just need something fresh in that department, because I mean, the biggest complaints I heard about Screams 5 and Scream 6 is that in the third act, it just kind of fell back to what the original 2 movies did. Like, it's just way too close. It's way too close to what those films did, and that was the biggest complaints that I hear almost every side of the fandom complain about. It's not just the people who really like these new entries or really dislike the new entries. Pretty much most people would agree that the third acts of both those films are the weakest part. And even I love Scream 6. Like, I thought it was so much fun. I had a great time with it. I still watch it a lot. I'm not crazy about that third act just because they made it Richie's family, and it's like, man, we gotta get away from that. This is turning into Fast and Furious real fast here. Let's try to do something else that's not super family oriented. Give us a new kind of motive. I think that's why Jill worked so well. Sure, she was a Prescott family member. She was in the family with Sydney, kind of similar to Roman. But she had a completely different motive. That's what made her so interesting and intriguing, and such a shock by the time we got to the third act.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the biggest drawback, beyond the fact that they were trying to shift the focus away from Sidney Prescott in 5 and 6, is that they were remakes. They were straight up remakes. I mean, even 6 was going. I love 6. I think 6 is really fun. I agree with you. But when you get to the ending, you're like, oh my god, this is just Scream 2, like literally Scream 2. And that was a drawback, absolutely a drawback. And I think if Kevin can come up, and I know he can, if he can come up with some kind of interesting take on the reveal, or maybe if they gave him a trilogy right from the beginning, which is what 4 was supposed to be, but if the studio flinched at the end, if they gave him a trilogy and the movie ends in a cliffhanger, and then maybe in the second movie we know who the Ghostface is, and they're covering up their tracks, and they have to kill witnesses off, and then the angles shift, and you're like, okay, the ball game is shifted, and maybe there's a copycat killer. Well, who's the copycat killer? I'm the Ghostface. Who the hell's killing other people? So that would be so interesting, and not only would the fan base explode, but I mean, I think repeat viewings alone. Go watch Scream 7 again, because there's clues as to where it's going in 8 and 9. That stuff people will eat up. And I think if they deliver something like that, and not just a hack and slash kind of boring movie, then you're gonna have a hit. I mean, you're absolutely gonna have a hit. Not like, I don't know if you saw Sick, Kevin Williamson's Sick. I didn't like it. First of all, the COVID stuff was dated, but don't do that. Don't do that. That was too plain and Jane,
I was not. It's almost a joke around here how much I disliked Sick. The main character was so frustrating. That it made me want to turn the film off. I was like, between that and the twist not making a lick of sense, I was like just so checked out of that movie before it even got going. But Seven, what I think Seven needs to do, and I completely agree with you, it needs to swing for the fences. We got to do something along those lines, tell a really ambitious story here, because if we're just going to play this, we're just going to use the same plays from the same playbook that we have seen 1,000 times now. I'm just not into that anymore, man. We've told that story already plenty of times. There's 5 sequels, there's 6 movies. We got a spinoff maybe in the works right now. I don't know. For me, if they're going to do Scream 7 and they want to start a new trilogy with Sydney again, swing for the fences, do something along those lines, keep a Ghostface going through multiple movies, and then have the fans guessing in between films. Like, that's really interesting. That's a cool new way to approach something along those lines. I don't know, man. I want to see them do something. I want to see them do something that's different. Give me a reason to tell this new story in this the same universe with a similar character, you know?
Yeah, I think if they approach it, and Kevin has background in TV, if they approach it like a mini series, where where there is a big story, but almost like Wicked is divided into 2 movies, but you divide it where every movie is still satisfying. It's not like, oh, the first one nothing happens in the first one. It's just all set up. Like, you still have the reveals and you have other things, but you tweak it in a way where you're still telling this big overall story that is satisfying, and then when it's all done, you can watch all 3 and be like, oh my god, this was like the Lord of the Rings of slasher movies. You know what I mean? That would be so exciting, and as a Scream film, I think it works because that's sort of the meta. It works on another meta level because now you're dealing with I don't think these are going to be big budget movies, but you're dealing with that box office epic kind of thing where you want to go bigger and better. You're 7 movies in. Look, 7 movies in, a lot of these franchises get really goofy. Jason fought a psychic girl. I mean, it could not go the right way. But I think if they give us something unique but still satisfying to the fans, then new people will come in, and the fans that are even on the fence will be won over. I mean, all it takes is don't give us the same shit, but give us the same flavor, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because you can't do something so far out that it's like a completely different thing. That's not what we want. That's not what we're saying either. Just use the same formula and tweak some things. Try something else out that you guys haven't done in a previous film. And I don't think it's that hard. I don't think it's that big of an ask. I don't think it's that hard to really execute something along those lines. We've been through this multiple times, just shift it here. Instead of doing a family member Ghostface, do something else. There's got to be another reason why someone wants to kill Sidney Prescott out there, especially if you're going to put her front and center for another movie. But I guess that's kind of one of the big questions, Jose, that I want to get into with one of the most recent casting decisions, which we've kind of been talking around. I feel like this whole time we have Joel McHale playing Sidney's husband, and the rumor for the longest time was that this was going to be Mark Kincaid from Scream 3 coming back, Patrick Dempsey's character. And now that's not happening anymore. Even though Patrick Dempsey has said in an interview that, there was a conversation. I was supposed to come back for Scream 7. Radio Silence confirmed that they meant, yes, that was supposed to be Mark Kincaid that she was talking about in Scream 5. What are your thoughts? There's been a lot of weird things going on behind the scenes with Scream 7. We already talked about the Melissa Barrera situation. But what are your thoughts on this? Like, what's going on here with Joel McHale?
That's a weird one. That's a head scratcher. I can't imagine that Patrick Dempsey was too expensive. He's not. The last movie he got, and it was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is something else. Don't watch that one.
No.
And that was a while ago, and he hadn't really. I don't think he'd been in a movie for a while. I think he was doing TV and stuff like that. So I can't imagine it was money. I'm not sure what it could have been, except that potentially he died and he didn't want to die. That is the only thing I can consider as an option for him, saying, "Oh, I'll come back, but I don't want to die. I want to be like in the movie. I want to protect my wife or whatever." And they're like, "No, but that's how the movie starts. Mark dies and blah blah blah, and then it's this whole thing." Which is would be a great setup, taking out her family and stuff like that. or Mark's the killer. And he goes, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. Why am I the killer? Like, you're playing the long game since part 3. I don't know."
Had kids with her and everything. Just
yeah,
an incredible long game.
he's so freaking psychotic. He's like, "Dude, wouldn't this be the greatest prank?" That's the only thing I can think of. He didn't like what they were gonna do with the character, and he said no, which is weird because it's not like he has like a ton of job offers.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I like Joel McHale. I think he's great. I think he's funny. I think he adds a lot of life. Although I think he sucked in It's a Wonderful Knife. But then the character was supposed to be kind of depressed. But I don't hate him. Is he Mark Kincaid though? I don't know. I feel like maybe it's just he'll be Mark Johnson or something. I don't know.
He's
weird.
He's Mark Evans in the film.
Mark Evans.
Mark Evans.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Well, I guess Sydney has a thing for Marks. I guess.
My thing about it, my biggest thing when I got that news, I was dumbfounded because I'm thinking to myself, the asshole boss from Ted is Sidney Prescott's husband. That's what you're trying to like. That's just kind of crazy to me. I love Joel McHale. He is fantastic in Ted, and I don't really care for him in It's a Wonderful Knife, but that's more so because of the script. I think when he's doing his bit though, when he's doing Joel McHale, when he's being that douchey character that he loves to play in so many different movies and TV shows, Jeff Winger on Community, he's great. He's awesome. And I love Joel McHale. He's great, but there are just some actors in certain roles that I feel like just don't work, and we need Sydney's husband, like this character, to be someone who is incredibly kind, someone that is easily trustworthy. Otherwise, I just don't see Sidney Prescott wanting to be with them. What worked so well to me about Mark Kincaid being her husband is this is someone who has been through a Ghostface attack with her. Right. You know what I mean? I'm not like the biggest Scream 3 fan or anything, but it just makes sense to me on paper with what we were talking about earlier, right? I mean, these are 6 movies where they all kind of feel like chapters in one long story, that all kind of center around a Ghostface attacks and incidents in this universe. Now you're telling me that we just have some random guy who is known for playing douche nozzles being the husband of Sidney Prescott, our heroine. I'm just like, dog, I don't know. To me, I just can't buy that unless he's the opening kill or he's the killer. And that's all I got. That's all I got there.
It remains to be seen. I know in the beginning there was talk of God, I'm blanking on her name. She was on The Americans. Oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. Maybe the chat remembers. Way in the beginning, they were thinking of casting this big actress. She was in Mission Impossible 3. God dang it! Why can't I remember her name? Oh my God, I'll just look it up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm like drawing a blank too. I'm like, oh shit. There's been a lot of people that have been rumored to be in this movie, and it just didn't.
She was in the Felicity.
Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you. Yeah, Kerry Russell would have been an interesting choice, and I think that would have elevated the star power in these movies, which I think they should start doing. I think there was talk at one point of Sam's mom was going to be like Jennifer Lopez or something like that. I mean, that would have been interesting too.
Yeah.
But they should do that. I think they should start bringing in some bigger names into the franchise and make it more of a prestige thing than like a low budget training ground for young actors. Unfortunately, I guess that didn't work out, or they got rid of the character or whatever. But we got Joel McHale, and jury's still out until we see the character. He could be the worst character in the entire franchise, or we could end up loving him, and then everybody has Mark Evans t-shirts. Who knows?
I mean, listen, that would be awesome. If Mark Evans is the best Scream character, nothing would make me happier. I just, to me, seeing him play this, like just kind of a douchebag character in a lot of other, not even horror movies, just movies in general, he does that so well. And It's a Wonderful Knife, I think, isn't the best thing to look at from his career, right? Because I feel like his performance there is so stunted because of the script. He didn't have a lot to work with. He's this like secondary reveal in the movie too, which like that's where I think the film really loses me. You know, the first half I think is really fun and goofy or whatever, and then like you get to that second reveal and you're like, this sucks. Like what? What do you mean he's also one of the killers? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So to me, it's tough to judge what he'll do in a murder mystery slasher based off of that movie because it's a little all over the place, right?
I could see him being very much a Jack Quaid kind of energy, which Jack Quaid is my favorite thing in Scream 5, and it's a bummer that he's gone because I thought he brought so much life and energy to that movie. I think if he was missing, that movie would have been such a bummer. So I think if he brings that kind of like lively kind of goofball energy, then a very much a Randy Stew kind of a mix, then great. I'm all for that. Let's have some fun with it. I think first and foremost, these movies are fun. That's why they're rewatchable. Yeah. That's why we care. We're not in it just for the kills.
Right.
It's for the characters and the fact that they're so fun to watch, and we want to be around them. We want to be with them. We want to, enjoy the world that they exist in. So if the movie's going to be fun, then I think he's going to be a big part of it. At least I hope so. But if he gets killed, then okay. But, again, remains to be seen. There's too many question marks right now.
Remains to be seen, and I'm sure Joel McHale's gonna give it his all. I mean, he even made a post saying like he's so honored to be a part of the franchise and all that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I just wish it was Sean Astin, So I just wish it was someone who I could look at on screen and be like, oh, they're such a lovable teddy bear kind of person, Like that to me just seems like Sidney Prescott's type versus the douchebag from Ted, But I'm just a simple fan, That's all I am. I'm just looking at things and being like, what the fuck?
I think Sean Astin's a little old.
He's probably a little old
for Sidney, but
that energy, right? The Sean Astin energy. He seems like a nice guy.
Absolutely, somebody that looks like her dad from the first movie. Somebody very protective. Maybe he made cookies for the bake sale. Absolutely,
Yes.
But then again, maybe that's that's what Joel will bring. Maybe he's the soccer dad.
Okay. Yeah. He's a reformed douchebag.
Yeah. And I'm sure, I'm sure there's a thing that maybe they'll address why things didn't work out with Mark, or maybe they won't. Maybe it'll just be, whatever. It was too close. She didn't want to be around that. And he was there for part 3, and it just felt weird to, relive that every time she looked at him, and she needed a change. And then she met this guy on Tinder or whatever, and there you go. But I like him. I think let's wait to see what he brings to the table. I am bummed it's not Patrick, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. Like if they said Nev left and it's now McKenna Grace is the lead, then I would be like, well, I don't really care to see that at this point. But that would be my only deal breaker.
So, speaking of which, the rest of the young cast, we have McKenna Grace, we have Asa German from the Boys spinoff show Gen V, which I can't believe I still haven't seen. There's some pretty excellent young talent here, just not a lot of very recognizable names, like you were talking about earlier. McKenna Grace, besides Joel McHale, probably the most recognizable out of everybody. We have Isabel May playing Nev Campbell's daughter here. We have Anna Camp playing like a nosy neighbor character who I don't know might be Ghostface. How do you feel about the rest of the cast here? Like I know you were saying earlier you want to see like some bigger names here, but do you think it's kind of cool that we have some like younger characters who might end up being stars in the future?
Oh, for sure. I like that it's a reunion for the new Ghostbuster movies, which I'm a big fan of. I love the new Ghostbuster movies. I think they're great. So I'm happy to see them in the film. I love Anna Camp. I think she's an incredible actor. Again, what are they going to be doing? What are they going to be delivering? That's that's really where it all sort of connects. And if they're going to become memorable, then it really depends on them. Look at Scream 2. When Scream 2 came out, everybody in Hollywood was in that movie. And then when we watch it, and some of them only had a line or two, and I was like, oh, okay, well, they weren't really in the movie. So, until we know to what extent they will, fight Ghostface or protect Sidney or try to kill someone, So far, there's nobody at the cast. I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm definitely not like completely turned away yet. I just think there's a lot of weird decision making happening. There's clearly some weird production issues. What the fuck's going on? What happened there with Mark Kincaid? What happened there with Melissa Barrera? I don't know. There's a lot of things where I'm just kind of scratching my head a little bit and just kind of overall worried about the product. But you seem to have a lot of faith in Scream 7, which definitely is raising my hopes a little bit.
I really do. Especially that Nev is on board as a producer.
Yeah.
Because she is going to be as protective of the franchise as Kevin is, as Wes would be. I don't think she would do anything to go against the franchise or Ghostface or Sidney Prescott. So I think it's in good hands, and I think we should just kind of sit back and let them cook and obviously hope for the best. But yeah, I'm not worried at all. Unless the trailer comes out and and there's weird shit in it, it doesn't make any sense. Again, we still have to watch the full movie, but I think a good poster and a good trailer will win a lot of people over. I think some good faith on Melissa Barrera's part, like maybe she comes to the premiere or something. I know she's talked with Nev Campbell and things like that. So I don't think there's bad blood. I think it's just a studio bullshit contract stuff. That's the worst part of making a movie, by the way. The contracts, figuring out how much do I get paid, how much does my name come before this person. All that stuff is just the worst. And I know that could really ruin relationships. But hopefully that hasn't happened here.
Yeah, we got to hope for the best, I think, for sure, as of right now, as big Scream fans. But another big question I want to ask too is we have Tori here saying I can see Anna being like a bitchy neighbor, like a frenemy kind of character to Sydney. With with the trend of a lot of these big murder mystery flicks, they tend to take their biggest actor, whoever it may be, in whatever role. Scream 5 with Jack Quaid, Thanksgiving with Patrick Dempsey. They typically tend to take their biggest actor and make them the killer. Do you think that could be the case here in Scream 7 with maybe either Joel McHale or McKenna Grace, one of them possibly being our lead killer this time around? Do you think it will be a little obvious for that reason?
I think it'll be obvious, and I'll tell you my crazy theory as to who I think, not who the killer will be, but how they're going to approach the killer. If the franchise goes meta, like it's always gone, and sort of addresses the time period and everything, I think there's a good possibility the killer's going to be trans, and it'll be, maybe we think this character is male, and then it turns out to be female, or vice versa. And that's the twist. I don't know, but it's. I mean, I exactly. But listen. That breaks the rules. That breaks the conventions, and that would be a twist nobody would really see coming. Especially if there's another movie that did that. I'm blanking on the name of it. I want to say, Dress to Kill. Great movie, by the way. Go watch that. Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill. That was, you're not gonna know who's who, but anyway, that sort of played off of that concept, and I think knowing Kevin is a big horror movie fan and a big suspense movie fan, I don't know. I think that's a way to change things around. Actually, Critical Overlord in the chat, yeah, kind of a sleepaway camp, throwback. I think that would be interesting, and it's something that we wouldn't expect. How they do it, I don't know, but I'm not writing it. All I can say is, we're talking theories. That's my crazy theory. Do you have a crazy theory as to who you think it is or how they're gonna do it?
I think for me personally, just especially after Scream 5 and 6, I loved Amber's reveal in 5. That got me. Did not see that one coming. Jack Quaid I saw from a mile away, and pretty much everybody in Scream 6 at one point or the other kind of gives themselves away.
Yeah.
I had Scream 6 like penned down maybe like halfway through. I'm like, okay, it's definitely at least these two characters are the killers, and what do you know? But I think with this film, I feel like it's going to be something similar. But where Scream 7 can impress me is having a motive that is something I don't expect. Like, I just watched this movie Presence that came out this weekend, and without spoiling it, they kind of do something similar where they have this big reveal at the end, which makes perfect sense, but it's just not where the movie was like leading you down your train of thought, you know? And I'm really hoping that even if I'm able to figure out who it is, maybe the why can make this film something special, something interesting. And again, a reason to tell this story, because I think 6 had swung for the fences in a lot of really cool and nuanced ways until the third act. And that to me is like, well, that's what a lot of people love about Scream is, you know, trying to figure out who the killer is, why they're doing it, and you kind of just repeated a lot of the stuff from 2. So can they have a killer who, okay, sure, might be a little obvious, like let's say it's McKenna Grace. But what is her motive? You know, what makes her motive something special? Maybe she just wants to be the ghost face that kills Sidney Prescott. You know, something as simple as that. No family connection at all, just something down to, I want to be the one to do it. You know, I am obsessed with Sidney Prescott. I want to be the one to actually take her out. That to me is interesting, because that kind of, you can build a whole character around that. It could be anybody in that scenario, not just her long lost cousin that's suddenly after 30 years for some reason deciding to come after her and kill her. So I'm hoping it's something along those lines. It's something that's not too overly complicated, because again, we are in the 7th installment of a long running series here. It's going to be very easy to, you know, accidentally just go against something that's already been established in the past. I say just keep it simple. Don't do anything too too outlandish in that regard. We don't have to turn this into a full on soap opera. Just give me a simple motive. Ghostface wants to kill Sidney. That works for me. I could get into something like that.
Yeah, but I feel like they've done that over and over, you know. And I think another way to go, restart. It's not about the mom. It's not about Sidney Prescott. I mean, if obviously they're keeping with the timeline, 6 established that there's this whole cult of Ghostface fanatics and stab fanatics, and you know, they meet online and all this stuff, and they collect the props and whatever, and they're obsessed with the murders. There's people out there who, think exactly like you were saying. Oh, I want to take out Sidney Prescott. I want to be the one who does it. I mean, that's pretty powerful. But I feel, what if we change the parameters? It's not just, oh, it's related by family. It is like almost like a game in a way, where it's like, okay, we're all taking bets on who can take down Sidney Prescott, and there's maybe a gang of ghost faces, but we don't really know that till maybe part 9 or something, you know, where it's like there's 1 or 2 and then, oh, don't worry, I'm not the only one after you or something, and then it ends on a question mark, and she's being targeted. I mean, we've heard about, you know, gang stalking and, you know, all that stuff. That's another avenue that they can explore, because then everybody literally can be a suspect, because you know, or maybe from the beginning we know for a fact, oh shit, there's 10 ghost faces, and you know what I mean, and then we meet the cast, and then maybe 1 or 2 are revealed at the end of 7, and then it trickles out, well, who the hell were the other people, and then that's the big still, you know, and then there were none, Agatha Christie kind of twist on the whole thing. I'd love to see something like that, where it really does broaden the playing field. The Squid Game of Scream, that would be insane. Where it's like, the winner gets $1 million. You know, some random dude is gonna, like, everybody put in a pot. The winner gets $1 million to take out Sidney Prescott, and then she's got to survive. And it's not just a hiding in her house listening to phone calls, but it's more of a visceral survival movie. That could be fun.
And I'm totally into something like that. I love that Scream 6 opened up the door to being about more than just family. You know, that opening scene, it opens up the idea to, well, you know, there's just a bunch of people online who are obsessed with Ghostface and want to do it themselves. That to me has me really excited for the future of, like, how this killer can evolve into something else, opposed to just, you know, ex-family members that have been rejected or whatever. That to me is what I'm just really hoping we get away from more than anything here in Scream 7. You know, kind of, this movie is already being marketed as going back to basics, but there are a lot of things that I think we just need to move on from that time period of Scream. Some of it was great in the moment, and that's awesome, and I'm glad that we have, like, that original trilogy, for instance, but now, you know, after this is the 7th installment, you have to change it up. You know, that's just the nature of the game, right? You have to take it down a different path. You can't just keep creating family members and saying it's going to be this or that. I like the idea of it being a Ghostface cult too, because it goes back to Kevin Williamson's original idea for Scream 3. You know what I mean? Like his original idea was let's have it be a stab fan film like group, or like just this like film group or whatever that like loved the movies and they want to take down Sidney Prescott. It could be that, but just through a modern lens. Maybe they're all connected on the internet, you know, something along those lines. I'm very into a whole trilogy being focused on that. Again, one of the most interesting parts of Scream 6 to me. Build on that, and then put Sidney Prescott right at the center of it.
Absolutely, and I think also work off the legacy in terms of in a way that they've never done. Use the cast of the Stab movies, Luke Wilson, Tori Spelling. What if the opening kill is Tori Spelling, and it's the Ghostface cult is trying to get Sidney Prescott. So the dry run, we take out the Sidney Prescott from the movies, and then we go after the real one. There you go. That's your opening kill right there, and it's in universe. It's satisfying, and it gives you something different because we're going after a celebrity, which is something that we haven't really. Those guys have sort of been satellite jokes, in 2 and 4, but now bring them in, man. Bring them in, and let's make it happen. And then maybe Luke Wilson joins, and he's the new Dewey. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna be next. I'm gonna help you guys solve this thing. That would be so fun. But obviously, he's not announced. But that would be such a fun direction to take things in, where it's very, very meta. But I don't think they'll do that.
I just hope he has the same hair from like the crazy Billy Loomis hair that he has. That's like way too. It's like jet black or something. It's way too long. I love that.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, man.
Yeah. I if they bring that back, I'll be happy. But yeah, I'm just really hoping for a movie that swings for the fences. I think that's another big question that you kind of brought up there, though. Like, do you think the Stab movies will be involved again, especially after kind of being absent from the commentary in Scream 6?
I don't know. I hope so. And again, when it comes to the commentary, I think we had it. I think up to 4. 4 was, of course, really the reboot remake kind of feel. I think the commentary is interesting, but I think if they want to move past that, I'm okay with that. But it may be more commentary on the state of the world. I'm not saying get political, but certainly, I think identity politics is something that they can touch on. Will they? Who knows? But I don't know.
There's a lot they can talk about. I mean, even just in the world of horror, I feel like a lot of the movies, especially 1 through 4, have like some sort of like general topic. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if 1's just slashers in general, 2 is sequels, 3 is trilogies, 4 is remakes, and then 5 is sort of requels, right? And then 6, I guess, is franchise commentary. Whatever that means. But I think if 7 just wants to start taking on different things across like just the space of horror, like if they want to get even a little more niche with it, what's something that's popular right now in the space? How can we apply that to our own movie? That to me works. You know what I mean? Like the people that flock to this movie are horror fans. So if they were to do something about a popular topic, kind of hit a little bit of commentary on something a tiny bit more specific, I don't think it would be totally out of reach for fans of the series personally.
No, for sure. And I think the biggest issue is that I feel horror doesn't really have a flavor at the moment. I think things feel a little not bland, but sort of like all over the place. There's no like thing that people are going after, except gore. I think gore, like Substance and Terrifier 3, that's been really taking off. So maybe these ghost faces want to be, Art the Clowns, and they're really gonna go violent with it. And I think I'm all for that. I think that'd be great. I think we're done with just the Ghostface stabbing somebody with a knife. I think Ghostface has to cut somebody's head off and not necessarily play with their guts, but I at least leave the crime scene a little more colorful than it began. You know, and I think
Yeah.
I think we'd all be down for a super violent Ghostface. I mean, just like an insane butcher would not only make that Ghostface or Ghostfaces stand out, but I think would also be referencing horror of the of its time.
Yeah, and I really hope there's something in there, because now that we know that Scary Movie 6 is coming out 4 months later, which we just got a release date for today, you know that film is going to hit on, like, just making fun of a lot of the most recent Scream movies. It's totally going to make fun of Terrifier. Like, are you kidding me? Like, of course it is. I know that film's going to hit on it, but will Scream do it in its own unique way, in you know, maybe a little more sophisticated way, versus Scream 6 is totally going to go down the juvenile route. But that's what we want from both franchises, of course. I'm just hoping that, you know, Scream kind of holds up its own end of the bargain in that case. You know what I mean? I hope we do hit on some sort of commentary, because we've kind of, again, when you look at the last 6 movies, you're kind of like, well, they kind of hit on all the big topics, all the big general topics of movie continuations and slashers in general. How can they, you know, again, how can they transform that? How can they evolve the commentary in new movies? I hope they're able to find a way to do it. And I would not mind a Terrifier commentary at all, because this franchise shit on Saw when Saw was super popular. Let's I don't know, let's see what they have to say about Terrifier. I think that would be fun.
Absolutely. And I think, look, 7 movies in, like I mentioned before, a lot of franchises went goofy and sort of, you know, went off the reservation. And I think you don't want that. You know, you don't want to have to start getting supernatural. You know, we don't necessarily, even though it's the third entry, we don't want to talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, which if you've seen it, you know that it should never be spoken of. We don't want to go down those routes, but I think you know, honoring, if you look, honor the legacy, but deliver a movie that is gonna feel like it stands out from the pack, from the franchise itself. And I think that's why 4 for me stands out as a sequel, because it feels different than the other movies. It even though it's very much similar to the first movie, it has its own flavor and its own vibe, and I love that. If he wants to go more violent, then that would absolutely. I mean, 4 is pretty violent. 6 is, I think 6 is pretty gory from what I recall.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think gore is a good way to address the extremity that horror is going to. Or maybe they'll go, I don't know, maybe they'll go European and you know, and it'll be very colorful and very like moody and I don't know, maybe artsy, but I don't see Kevin doing that either. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hearing, you know, I'm seeing like the chat say I don't see Kevin Williamson making this more violent. He wanted Wes to pull back on the blood. I think in 4 that was a conversation, if I'm not mistaken. We also have Critical Overlord talking about what's going to cause Sydney to be so overprotective. I think that's built into Sidney Prescott as a character at this point. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like she's going to be an overprotective mother, whether or not there's a ghost face running around. You know what I mean? Just no matter what. But I just thought, I just had to bring that up. That's hilarious. But getting back to the gore, though, to me, Master Chaos, that's a big place that they can improve upon here. And I'm not even saying that's something that I dislike about some of the earlier Scream movies, but they're not really that gory. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even go so far as to say that there's a super crazy over the top kill in most of these films. So to see that here in Scream 7, to really put a focal point on let's chop some heads off. You know what I mean? Let's have a beheading in a Scream film. That to me, that'll stand out immediately. I mean, just in Scream 5, some of the stuff stands out to me, and it's not even really that gory, but that slow knife through the one kid's neck is like, that's brutal, man. Like that's oh my god, it's one of the hardest things to watch in the whole franchise, and it's really, you know, you compare that to something like Evil Dead or Terrifier, it's a walk in the park, right? So to step it up in that department just makes a lot more sense, in my opinion. It's just something this franchise has never really focused on. Put a spotlight on that. Why not?
And you know, and I think what makes the Scream franchise different from, you know, Jason and, you know, all those guys is that those characters feel like us. They're movie fans, you know. Well, not all of them, but you know, they're very much cut from the same cloth as the people who would go see these movies. And I think putting putting us in that situation is really the reason this franchise works, and that Ghostface works, and that Ghostface can be anybody. He could be your best friend. He could be your boyfriend or girlfriend. That's powerful. It's not just one guy walking around who's a zombie. And I mean, there's just so much room to expand that I think if they don't, I mean, they'll beat it to death in some way, but if they don't expand and we just get a by the numbers, okay, I'm the killer. Oh, I'm your second cousin, from Sheboygan. Then no one's gonna care at that point. And it's like, oh, you should have brought Melissa back, and it's gonna be that whole conversation. Yeah. But I think they need to earn the people they lost back by really delivering something that's like, look, see, we told you we had it in us. And I don't think Melissa's done with the franchise either. So that's the good news. I think she'll be back. I can't imagine she's gone forever.
I would love to see her come back, have one more movie with the core four at some point. And yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Time heals all wounds, as they say. So who knows? Who knows what ends up happening? I would love to see her come back. And I'm just hoping Scream 7 is good. But Master Chaos, to kind of just put some final thoughts, a little bow on this whole thing. What are your, like, is there anything else you want to throw out there about Scream 7? You still have a lot of faith in it, which is very positive. I'd love to hear that. Let the people at home know about your positivity, Jose. I love it.
Well, I think I've been spewing positivity all over the place. I think look, Kevin knows this franchise better than anybody. I 100% guarantee you he's written on it. Even on set, there's changes, that happen. Okay, no, say this. Okay, no, change this line. Mention that. Okay, don't talk about it. Say it like this. So changes happen all the time. While it may say Guy Busick, 100% Kevin Williamson had a hand in the script. And I don't look at stuff like, oh, he only did Teaching Mrs. Tingle or whatever. It's, The Witch was Robert Eggers' first movie. It's like, so it doesn't. Citizen Kane was what was his first movie. It's like it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. I think if you're given the right tools and the right time, the right actors and all that stuff, you can make something exceptional. And I think now that Kevin has it in hand and he can, take Ghostface, I think officially from Wes and make it his own, I think it's going to be a phenomenal movie. And I think it may, I mean, my wish is that it's as good as 4, but my dream is that it's just as good as the first one, and it captures that spirit, that energy that I think the franchise has been trying desperately to recapture. When Scream came out, none of those actors were names,
No.
Right? Nev and Courtney were on TV shows, but they were nobodies. So it doesn't matter who's in the movie. Is if the movie can deliver the magic that transports us, and I think it can, and I have 100% faith that Kevin is the right guy for the job, and I think Chris Landon would have been a good director. I like his work. I think he would have done a good job, but I think I feel more comfortable with Kevin at the helm.
Yeah, I will say if there's anything really positive with this franchise to look at right now is we have we have Kevin at the helm of this movie, which is it's really special. It's really cool to see him just like take on this project and essentially try to save it. You know what I mean? That's definitely the attitude that I'm feeling coming from a lot of the big updates we've gotten. He's so excited to be on set. I mean, like he seemingly broke his NDA to post that first picture, which is like wild to me. So he's excited. Rumor has it there's a really good vibe on set. To me, that screams like it's going to be a good movie. And that's the hope right now. The hope right now is that they are going to create something special. And I even said it in my last Scream video. I said along the lines of, even when Scream is like just completely down and out, they're still able to somehow turn out a pretty good product with pretty much every entry. I mean, I personally don't hate any of these movies. I like all 6 of them. They're all a very fun time to put on, even though many of them do have a lot of problems. But even then, I'm still having a good time with it. Scream 3 notably had like 1,000 production issues, 1,000 script rewrites and changes, and it's still a better sequel than some of the things that I've seen in some other franchises, which is crazy. It's crazy to say that with all those problems still present. So I think there's still hope for Scream 7 to be something really fun. Is it going to be something that tops the original? That's yet to be seen. But I have faith. I have faith that somehow they're gonna pull a miracle out of their ass, and god damn it, I can't wait to see it on February. Is it 27th? Whatever. I'm here for it, Master Chaos.
I'm glad to hear it, man. It's funny. We were talking. I was reminded of this franchise sort of goes under the radar. Not Scream, but something else goes under the radar. It doesn't really get the love it deserves. But I just rewatched them, and there's not a bad one in the bunch. I don't care what anybody says. The Final Destination movies, fantastic. There's not a bad one in the bunch. I love them. So. Completely on a tangent, but I just remember the new one's coming out. Let's get together and talk about the franchise when that gets closer, okay?
I would love to talk about Final Destination, man. That's a series that I have some very crazy opinions on. I like the fifth one is my favorite.
It's they're all so
great.
Fun.
They're all fun.
It was genius.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely will have to talk about those sometime soon. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight for a little chat with a fireside chat with Jose and I to talk a little Scream 7. Give you guys a little hope on the franchise. Master Chaos, you're still doing YouTube and all that, right?
I am. I'm busy filmmaking, but this year's gonna slow down. It's a sort of rebuilding year for writing scripts and getting stuff together, raising money, all that stuff. But I'm on YouTube. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. Yay! So I'm climbing up there. But the videos are infrequent. But I do cover pretty much the same thing: horror movies and physical media, that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Well, everyone, go subscribe to Master Chaos if you got a sec. It would help him get to 2K. That would be dope. Make it happen.
I would appreciate that very much.
Hell yeah. Well, good stuff, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I will be live again on Monday, and we will talk some more horror then. Thank you all for joining me again. Have a great weekend. Drink responsibly, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all. Peace out.